Tangled in Tulum Part 3. Chapter 12, His name was on the deed. But not the plan. The morning after the storm was too still. As if the jungle itself was holding its breath. The birds stayed quiet. The sky, usually ablaze with light and motion, hung dim and low. Lana Cruz walked back to her retreat barefoot, Nico's linen shirt still around her shoulders, dried mud on her calves, and something dangerously close to hope blooming in her chest. Last night had changed something. And for once, she didn't feel afraid of it. Back in her bungalow, she lit a stick of copal and tried to return to ritual. A cold shower. A clean robe. Hair braided in a tight crown. She opened her laptop to check in on bookings, not that there were many left, and opened her inbox with cautious fingers. But what she found wasn't a cancellation notice. It was a forwarded email. Subject: Delgado Holdings, Q3 Development Schedule, Confidential. No sender name. No message. Just the attachment. Lana stared at it, frowning. Then clicked. The document exploded onto the screen in PDF form, the logo of Delgado Holdings in the corner. It was a spreadsheet. Pages and pages of timelines, material estimates, subcontractor contacts, and blueprints. For something labeled, Tulum Property, Phase 1, Luxury Casino Resort. Her stomach turned. The diagrams were explicit. Casino lounge layouts. High-stakes poker suites. Spa wings. A cenote-inspired pool club. There was even a rendering of a helipad. Right in the center of where the sacred cacao trees lived. Lana's breath caught in her throat. She scrolled furiously. Down to the bottom. There, beneath the approval line. Authorized, Nicolas Delgado. Co-signed, Alta Vista Investment Group. Her blood turned cold. His name. His signature. On the plan. Everything he had said. Every moment. Every kiss. Was it all just a strategy? Her heart thudded like a war drum as she rushed through her contacts. Maya. She needed Maya. Maya would know the truth. The line rang once. Twice. Lana, came the familiar voice. I need to see you. Now. They met at the jungle edge near the animal sanctuary neutral ground. Maya looked concerned the moment she saw Lana's face. I got this, Lana said breathlessly, holding up her phone. Someone forwarded it. Look at the last page. It's his signature. On the casino blueprints. Maya took the phone and scrolled. Then frowned. No, she said. That doesn't make sense. Lana's voice cracked. It's right there. No, Maya said again, shaking her head. He told me he was trying to stall them. That his investors wanted a casino, but he didn't. He's been hiding the delays in permits. Rewriting sustainability proposals. Even paid off a developer to walk away. He said he needed more time to flip the board's support. Lana blinked. But why would he sign it? Maya sighed. Because legally, he had to. He's the face of the project. If he doesn't sign, they move without him. Or worse, they fire him. A hot, dizzying silence spun between them. Lana's hand trembled as she took the phone back. So, he wasn't building the casino. Maya looked at her gently. No. He was risking everything to stop it. Lana closed her eyes, fury and shame crashing through her like rival waves. She had judged him again. Had taken one document and let it confirm every worst-case fear. And the worst part? She hadn't even given him the chance to explain. Back at her bungalow, the forwarded email still glowed on her screen. She scrolled to the top. Checked the source. It had been routed through an anonymous proxy server. But one email name flashed in the reply to field before it refreshed and disappeared. Selene.in.light@etherliving.org. Lana's jaw clenched. Selene. She wasn't just feeding gossip. She was sabotaging Nico. And now. Lana too. Outside, a low rumble of thunder rolled again in the distance. Another storm was coming. But this time, Lana wasn't running from it. She was ready to walk straight through the fire and ask Nico Delgado the one question she'd been too afraid to before. Are we on the same side, or just playing the same game? Chapter 13, The Ex with the Drone. There were men you forgot. Men you forgave. And men who came back with a drone and a podcast. Lana Cruz had a talent for attracting all three. But Jasper Blake was in a category all his own. He was the boy who once backpacked through Bali with her, who said namaste like a threat, who wore linen pants ironically, and who left Tulum the morning she opened her first retreat claiming he couldn't handle the heat. Now, 2 years later, he was back. With perfect timing, of course. She saw him first from the yoga platform, a tiny black dot circling the trees above her like a robotic hawk. Is that a drone? Camila asked, frowning, shielding her eyes from the sun. Before Lana could answer, the jungle cracked open with the crunch of footsteps. And there he was. Jasper. Same messy man bun, same smug smirk, only now upgraded with a microphone clipped to his shirt collar and a camera crew trailing behind him like tech-savvy mosquitoes. Lana, he called out, arms wide as if the past 2 years hadn't happened. Goddess of the jungle herself. Lana blinked. Why is there a GoPro on your chest? He beamed. Content. Always be capturing. They sat awkwardly under the thatched palapa while Jasper explained himself, barefoot and grinning, sipping from a green juice that no one offered him. I have a podcast now, he said. Raw Earth Real Talk. Just passed 300,000 downloads last week. I'm doing a new series on greenwashing billionaires, and guess who popped up? Lana didn't respond. He leaned in, whispering like they were still lovers. Nico Delgado. Her jaw clenched. You're out of your depth, Jasper. Am I? He said brightly. Because according to the documents I got from a very credible source. Selene. He blinked. Smirked. No comment. Of course. He pressed on. This guy has been buying up sacred land through shell companies. Casino blueprints, bribery trails, offshore accounts. It's all in my next episode. Unless, he said slowly, you want to tell your side of the story first. Lana crossed her arms. There is no story. Not yours. Not mine. Not one that involves a drone flying over sacred land. He grinned wider. You're protecting him. No, she said, voice low, I'm protecting the land. Something you wouldn't understand. He leaned back, unfazed. Well, when you change your mind, I'd love an interview. We could talk about the kiss too. Maybe run it as a redemption arc. My audience loves scandal. She stood. You can leave now. Jasper's eyes glinted. I'll send over a release form. Just in case. That night, Lana sat by the fire pit, phone in hand, still fuming. Jasper had always been chaos disguised as charm. But now, he had an audience, a drone, and just enough slanted truth to blow everything up. She thought about the email. The forwarded plans. The signature that didn't tell the whole story. And the drone that probably already had footage of Nico's team clearing land for a project he never wanted to build. Her finger hovered over her phone screen. She opened WhatsApp. Typed. We need to talk. Now. Come alone. And sent it to Nico. Because if Jasper was about to light the fuse, Lana needed to know what kind of fire she was standing in. And whether she should protect Nico Delgado. Or burn right alongside him. Chapter 14, Betrayal in a Beaded Bracelet. Some betrayals are loud. Some are quiet. Some come wrapped in sacred beads and a well-lit photo filter. And Lana Cruz would never forget the weight of this one. It started with a bracelet. Delicate. Handmade. Strung with jaguar bone beads, woven with deep jungle green and sun-kissed amber stones. not the kind of thing you'd find in a tourist shop or on a fashion blog. It was old, worn, and priceless. It once belonged to Dr. Isabella Delgado, Nico's mother. The woman whose name was whispered like legend in eco circles, whose research had inspired Lana's entire spiritual journey. A woman who, even in death, had left fingerprints on every inch of this land. And now, her bracelet sat on the edge of Lana's altar. A gift from Nico. The night they lay together in the jungle cabana, he had slipped it into her palm like a secret. "She made it when I was a boy," he'd whispered. "Said it was for someone who would know the land the way she did. Who could hear the trees." Lana had barely slept after. The weight of it haunted her wrist for days. But today, it lay in the open. Vulnerable. And Jasper, her too curious ex with a drone, a podcast, and an ego wrapped in healing crystals, noticed it immediately. "Is that Delgado's mother's bracelet?" he asked, eyes sharp with opportunity. "The same one from the documentary footage." Lana hesitated. "Too long. And that was her first mistake." "Can I use it for a promo shot?" Jasper asked. "Just one photo. Symbolism, you know? I'm recording a segment about her sacrifice. It'll add weight." Lana paused. Logic screaming. But shame whispered louder. Guilt over her silence. Confusion about where she stood. Fear that maybe Jasper's expose would force Nico to tell the whole truth. That maybe she wasn't strong enough to demand it. She reached over, unclasped the bracelet, and handed it to him. Second mistake. The photo was posted 20 minutes later. Jasper. Shirt open just enough. Holding a jungle fern in one hand and the sacred bracelet in the other. Captioned. "Dr. Isabella Delgado gave her life to protect this land. I wear her memory as I speak truth to power. #Jungle Justice #EcoExpose. Lana's heart sank the moment she saw it. It wasn't reverent. It was performance. Her stomach twisted. Her hands turned cold. And just like that, her third mistake. She didn't tell Nico. He found out anyway. By nightfall, the bracelet was everywhere. People reposted the image, praising Jasper for his bold stand against billionaire corruption. But Nico Delgado wasn't on social media. He was on the ground. And he stormed into Lana's retreat center just after dark without a word. She was lighting candles when the wind of his arrival hit her. "Where is it?" His voice was low. Controlled. She froze. Nico stood in the doorway. Rain slicked, eyes burning, jaw clenched so tight she thought he might crack his teeth. "The bracelet," he said. "Where is it?" Lana's throat went dry. I lent it. For a photo. I didn't know he would." "You gave him my mother's bracelet." Nico stepped forward. One step. Then two. "The only thing I've kept for over a decade, and you handed it over for a photo op." "It wasn't like that." "Wasn't it?" he snapped. "Or is it easier to stand behind a man with a microphone and a trending hashtag than beside one who tells you the truth when it's messy?" Tears burned the back of her eyes. "I made a mistake." "No," he said. "You made a choice." He looked at her like she'd broken something sacred. And maybe she had. He left before she could explain. Left her standing barefoot, breathless, candlelight flickering against her shame. The bracelet was still in the photo. Still online. And maybe still in Jasper's smug little pocket. But Lana? She had never felt so naked. So small. And worst of all, so afraid she'd just lost the one man who ever saw through her defenses and still touched her like she was made of fire and roots. Chapter 15, Jungle of Lies. Tulum felt different without him. The air was heavier. The ocean quieter. Even the jungle, the wild, relentless jungle, seemed to mourn. Because Nico Delgado was gone. And Lana Cruz knew it was her fault. The bracelet was never returned. Jasper had vanished after the post went viral, claiming he had flown north for a wellness summit. And the press ate up the narrative of the rogue podcaster standing for sacred land, wearing the fallen hero's relic like a warrior in linen. And Nico? He saw it once. He didn't need to see it twice. The morning after their confrontation, he disappeared. No call. No text. No driver at the usual cafe. The Delgado estate was locked up. His assistant, unreachable. His name scrubbed from the local developer permits like he'd never existed. Camila found Lana pacing barefoot across the retreat platform, eyes wild, hair wind-whipped. "He's not answering," Lana whispered, voice shaking. "He always answers." Camila gently held up a rolled-up legal document she found nailed to the retreat's front gate. A construction permit. Approved. Signed. Stamped. And under project lead was not Nico Delgado, but Alta Vista Holdings. The sharks behind the curtain. The ones Nico had tried to keep at bay. Now unleashed. By noon, the roar of machinery replaced the sound of waves. Trucks rolled through the edge of the jungle like tanks. Trees that once whispered secrets were yanked from their roots. Plastic ribbons marked the borders of destruction like crime scene tape. Lana stood at the overlook above the cacao grove, tears sliding down her face as the drone of a bulldozer shattered the sacred silence. And for the first time since the day she stepped barefoot onto Tulum's soil, she felt powerless. She retreated to her bungalow, collapsed on her knees, and sobbed into the earth. "I trusted you," she whispered, as if the soil could carry her words to him. "I trusted myself. And I still destroyed it." Her hands clenched into fists over her altar. Everything smelled like ash. The headlines didn't help. Delgado vanishes amid eco-scandal. Casino project greenlit after lead developer ghosts. Podcast star Blake steps in to continue the fight. Jasper had seized the moment like a parasite. Now, he was leading jungle healing circles and charging $200 for sacred cacao-infused activism bracelets not even handmade. Lana watched it unfold from her hammock, paralyzed. She had given everything: her platform, her voice, her faith, and what was left? Nothing but an empty bungalow, half her bookings cancelled, and the sound of chainsaws in the distance. She picked up the linen pouch that still held the gift Nico had left her weeks ago. The blueprint for the original sanctuary plans. Eco-villas. Wildlife corridors. Permaculture gardens. Not a single slot machine. She cried harder. Because now it was too late. He was gone. And with him, the last chance to save what mattered. She didn't even know where he went. Only that he had vanished without goodbye. And that the jungle she loved was about to be stripped bare. Chapter 16, The Protest and the Press. They didn't expect her to fight back. Especially not like this. But Lana Cruz was done whispering mantras in silence while bulldozers screamed through the jungle. She had burned her brand, handed her legacy to a liar with a drone, and lost the only man who'd ever made her feel seen beyond her curated spirituality. She had nothing left to lose. Which made her dangerous. It started with 10 women. Local healers. Former retreat guests. A couple of bold yogis who refused to fly home after the scandal. Camila was the first to say the words out loud. "Let's make them look. Make them listen." And so, Lana sent the text. Just one. Come barefoot. Wear white. Bring nothing but truth. They met at sunrise. At the construction site gates. The jungle still smoldered from the trees cut the day before. The scent of earth and diesel clashed in the air. But the women came, barefoot and silent, robes fluttering in the wind, flowers in their hair. Lana stood at the front. No makeup. No crown. No filter. Just a handmade sign that read, "Sacred land is not for sale." And a fire in her eyes that no camera could fake. By noon, the crowd had doubled. Men joined. Locals came with woven drums. A Mayan elder began to chant blessings over the land. Tourists passing by stopped and stayed. A shaman lit incense in protest. Someone brought a rescued baby jaguar in a carrier. People cried. People chanted. And then someone live-streamed it. From a drone. Not Jasper's this time. But a guest from Finland with 200k followers and a solar panel backpack. The stream took off. And by sunset, the hashtags were everywhere. Hashtag barefoot for the jungle. Hashtag cancel the casino. Hashtag jungle not jackpots. Hashtag Lanarises. CNN showed up the next morning. Followed by Spanish national news. Then Al Jazeera. Then Vice. They called it the spiritual resistance of Tulum. They called Lana a fallen priestess reborn. She didn't correct them. Because this wasn't about her anymore. She stood on a makeshift altar, an old construction crate now covered in white linen, and addressed the cameras. This land does not belong to developers. It does not belong to billionaires. And it sure as hell does not belong to men with microphones pretending they care. A not so subtle jab. The crowd roared. The next day, the investors panicked. Alta Vista Holdings issued a bland, panicked press release. We are pausing the Tulum project due to community concerns. But Lana knew better. It wasn't over. Not until he came back. And she didn't know if he ever would. Until the third day. The drums had just started again when the black SUV pulled up at the edge of the jungle road. Doors opened. People whispered. Then gasped. And there he was. Nico Delgado, stepping into the sun in a crisp white shirt and tan linen pants, flanked by two of the most powerful environmental lawyers in Latin America. And behind them Maya, the foundation director, and two respected elders from the local Ejido Land Council. He walked through the crowd as if he belonged to it. Straight toward Lana. She didn't move. Didn't breathe. He stopped a foot in front of her. Their eyes met. And quietly, so only she could hear, he said. I told you I'd wait till morning. She blinked. Tears rose, but didn't fall. And then she did the only thing she could. She nodded. Once. Because this wasn't over. But the jungle? The jungle was not lost. Chapter 17, One Night, Two Truths. The jungle was hushed again. Not silent. Never silent. But hushed like it, too, was leaning in to listen. The protesters had gone to bed. The lawyers were drawing up injunctions. The cameras were packed away in velvet cases. But in the clearing just beyond the cacao grove beneath stars so bright they seemed jealous of one another, Lana waited. Barefoot. Heart in hand. Waiting for the man who had once kissed her like a secret and left her with silence. Until now. He arrived just after midnight. Nico Delgado, in all his quiet intensity. No entourage. No security. Just him and the jungle. His white shirt unbuttoned at the collar, his sleeves rolled up, forearms tanned and tense. His face unreadable in the starlight, but his eyes, those midnight, make you forget how to breathe eyes locked onto hers like they hadn't seen anything worth looking at in days. You came, she said softly. I never really left, he replied. A beat. Then, he asked, why here? She looked down at the sacred ground beneath them. Her place. His mother's place. Because I needed to tell you the truth, Lana whispered. He waited. No interruptions. No assumptions. Just space. So she filled it. I gave Jasper the bracelet, she confessed. Not because I wanted to hurt you. I didn't think, no, I did think. I was angry. Confused. I thought maybe he could help expose the others. That it was a statement, not a betrayal. But the moment I saw the photo, I knew. Nico didn't speak. I sold out something sacred. Not for a profit. Not for a press. For fear. An ego. Her throat tightened. And I'll never forgive myself for that. He closed the space between them. You don't need my forgiveness, Lana. She looked up. But I want it. Silence hummed between them. Then, gently, his hand found hers. And she didn't pull away. He led her to a mossy boulder at the edge of the grove. They sat. The moon washed them in silver. Fireflies blinked like lazy paparazzi. I'm sorry I disappeared, Nico said finally. I had to get away before I burned everything down with me. You left everything behind, she whispered. I took something with me, he said. He pulled out a worn leather folder from his satchel and handed it to her. She opened it. Legal papers. Stamped. Notarized. Signed by the original land grant elders. Foundation Almadel Jaguar. His mother's legacy owned a binding conservation easement on the central acres of the proposed resort land. Right through the cacao grove. Right where the casino was supposed to go. Lana's jaw dropped. You have the right to stop them. He nodded. Not just stop them. We can sue them for every tree already cut. For every broken promise. For every animal displaced. Her heart pounded. Why didn't you use this before? I didn't want to lead with a weapon, he said. I thought I could negotiate. Convince them. But then the board removed me. Fired me quietly and replaced me with a puppet from Alta Vista. And now? He looked at her, voice low. Now I'm done playing nice. She reached for the folder again, her hands trembling. This was it. The weapon. The shield. The answer. But still, her voice cracked. What about us? She asked. He didn't flinch. There is no us if we don't save this place. Lana nodded. Then smiled. Just a little. Then let's fight like hell. And maybe, afterward, we see what's left of us. His lips curved into a soft, almost broken smile. And under the stars, he pulled her into his arms. Not out of lust. Not out of fire. But out of the most dangerous thing of all, faith. Because one night had given them two truths. And both were worth fighting for. Chapter 18, Warrior Pose, Broken Heart. Lana had always believed in sacred alignment. Mind. Body. Breath. But no yoga class had ever prepared her for the way her heart felt that night, stretched open, trembling, dangerously exposed. And for once, she didn't want to close it. After their moonlit confession in the cacao grove, Nico kissed her again, soft and slow, with the weight of everything they'd both tried to suppress. There was no desperation this time. No tequila haze or fevered resistance. Just skin. And silence. And breath. They made love beneath a canopy of stars, tangled in roots and whispered promises. Her wrap dress slid off like silk. His shirt came undone with reverence. He moved like a man trying to remember what it felt like to be human, not a CEO, not a developer, just a man with something to lose. When it was over, they stayed curled together on the mossy floor, her cheek on his bare chest, their fingers still linked like vines. The protest. The press. The firestorm of the past few days, none of it touched this moment. For the first time in weeks, Lana let herself believe. Believe in him. Believe in them. But sunrise has a way of cutting through fantasy. And in Tulum, nothing golden lasts too long. The next morning, Lana returned to the retreat early, barefoot and glowing. Her heart felt warm, foolish, maybe, but full. She brewed cacao. She even smiled at Camila. Until Camila handed her a manila envelope. Delivered by hand. No return address. Figured you'd want to see this, Camila said carefully. Lana opened it. Inside, a single page. Freshly notarized. Government sealed. A land use permit. And stamped across the top in bold black ink. Delgado International Casino, South Jungle Phase 2 approval. Her world stilled. She read it again. And again. Her fingers trembled as she scanned the page. His name. Nico's. Right there, clear as sunrise. Project owner, Delgado International. Her cacao mug shattered on the floor. Camila jumped. Lana. But Lana didn't hear her. The pulse roared in her ears. Her body moved on autopilot out the door, down the jungle path, toward the grove where he still slept under the trees. Her dress whipped in the wind. Her bare feet hit the roots like knives. She found him zipping his satchel, still shirtless, the morning sun making him look every inch the man she had finally let in. She held up the permit. Didn't say a word. Just let the page slap against his chest. Nico took it slowly. Read it once. Then closed his eyes. Lana. Don't, she whispered, voice breaking. Don't lie. Not now. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is, she cried. Because your name is on a casino permit. And I'm done believing in half-truths and paper promises. His voice was low. Pained. It's a shell company. Left over from the board's original plan. It's in my name legally, but I haven't touched it. It's a trap. One they're hoping you'd find so you'd lose faith in me again. She stared at him. Eyes wide. Jaw clenched. He reached for her. She stepped back. You should have told me. I was going to. After the injunction was filed. She nodded once. Tears rising. But you waited, she whispered. Again. Because I wanted one more night, he said. One night where we weren't fighting everyone else. She blinked slowly. Tried to breathe. But the yoga couldn't save her now. She turned away. Stumbled back into the jungle, her hands fisted, her heart burning, her bare feet bleeding from roots she didn't see. Later that morning, she stood in front of her retreat guests in warrior pose, arms trembling, legs locked, heart shattered. Find your balance, she told them. Even when the ground isn't solid. But she couldn't meet her own eyes in the mirror. Because warrior pose didn't protect you from betrayal. And she had fallen again for a man who walked in two worlds. And this time, she didn't know if she'd ever rise from it. That's the end of this part, but trust me, the next one is even more thrilling. We drop fresh episodes every day, so don't miss out. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for listening to Billionaire Romance Stories, where love meets luxury in the most unexpected places. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. We love hearing your favorite twists and favorite theories. And don't forget to ring that bell, because in this world of yachts, secrets, and luxurious romance, the next story is always one click away.